Let's rank every 2025 movie I saw. On my last video, I said that I saw 84, it was actually 83. 2025 was a crazy year, but at least we got some good flicks out of it. Steven Soderbergh released 2 movies, Paul Rudd released 2 A24 movies, one of them being good, Stranger Things ended, some of the greats came out with films, the Safdie brothers split up, made their own films based off of people who had niche audiences. But this is a lot to rank, so my mind will definitely change. It might change the day after posting this. Some of these have ratings that are lower than a certain film, but are ranked higher, because a lot of these are based off of what I would want to watch more. I already have a video about the worst and best of 2025, so I'm going to skim through the first and last 10. Check those videos out if you want more thoughts on those. Number 83, Strangers Chapter 2, Love Hurts, Snow White, Him, SpongeBob, Woman in the Yard, Conjuring Last Rites, Final Destination Bloodlines, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Captain America Brave New World. The Amateur, A Working Man, and Keeper, which is the last movie that I would consider outright bad. Everything else is harmless at best. Death of a Unicorn didn't live up to its funny premise. Lilo and Stitch is basic as you would think, but harmless. And Whose Name promised something, but it only met halfway. Regretting You was a reality show put into film. Opus suffered the recently cult movie trope. Ash didn't have enough story to tell. I expected more from Shelby Oaks, but respected especially coming from Chris Stuckman. Ella McKay had interesting ideas, but just as many head scratchers. Legend of Fluffy felt like some of the charm is gone. Eternity's central conflict didn't add up for me. This is the last movie that I wasn't a fan of. Everything else is okay at best. Wolfman, not a bad movie, but couldn't translate its modern retelling. Dogman was harmless and fun. Good Boy had the best dog performance ever. Nobody 2 is as good of a sequel as you can get from this. Hell of a Summer had me jealous that Finn Wolfhard got to direct this at 20. Alto Nights was Robert De Niro flexing his talents. The Monkey brought the good side of horror comedy back. One of Them Days was a solid modern Friday. If Until Dawn is looked at without its source material, it's a good horror flick. Novocaine is charming. Den of Thieves 2 surprises us again with a more heist take. Karate Kid Legends has the most entertaining first act, which this is actually the last okay movie. We are getting into the good now. Springsteen Deliver Me From Nowhere takes on a more introspective look. Running Man is what you would want to see during the summer. Naked Gun had me hollering trying not to choke on my popcorn. Accountant 2 became less serious in a good way. Anaconda had 2 guys with no haters. Black Phone 2 was the scariest looking horror film this year. Last Breath had me more emotional than I thought. Materialist is a bit conventional but easy to digest. We are finally getting into the really good movies. These are the ones that I can have a conversation about on the ride home. With Die My Love being the perfect kind of weird for me. Hard Eyes being a good slasher that has no strings attached. Predator Badlands had a great adventure feel to it. The Phoenician Scheme felt like Wes Anderson found himself again. Companion is the technology horror done right. Housemaid has no right being this entertaining. Together is the best and worst movie to watch with your partner. Presence had a lot to say for a movie that was just eavesdropping on a family. Roofman brought some laughs to me to what is a sad true story. Paddington in Peru is delightfully cute. Drop is an old-style thriller that I could rewatch several times. Superman is the best way James Gunn could have opened up the new cinematic universe. Good Fortune had me relating to everyone and gave me the funniest Keanu Reeves performance. The Smashing Machine is The Rock at the highest level. Jay Kelly gives you a lot to think about your past, present, and future days. Black Bag had me wanting to become a spy. Eddington was batshit crazy and I love the ending. Wake Up Dead Man had the most interesting murder concept. 28 Years Later is more than just a zombie film. It has a lot to say about passing on to the next generation. Ballerina has the best stunt team ever. I love the attention to detail to every single action sequence. Getting into the great category, we're starting off with Friendship, a movie that I thought was absolutely insane, but also calming at the same time. I love what it has to say about relationships as a whole, whether it's friendships, romantic relationships, or relationships with yourself. The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, was one of the most delightful experiences I had at a movie theater. I just really hope that we get more of these. Zootopia further explores the themes of the original, which I think is one of the best Disney animated movies. Fantastic Four had such an interesting concept as they're battling giving up their world in order to save their world. If you've seen the movie, you would understand. The Long Walk is one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations. Bring Her Back is a film about neglection and protection, something I feel is lacking in a lot of movies nowadays, and it's a wonderful addition to the Philippou brothers filmography. It does have your moments to piss you off, but it has a mostly satisfying tie-up. I'm not the biggest anime fan, however, Demon Slayer The Infinity Castle just teaches you to understand individuals. I feel like it further explains the complexities of people. I love how patient this movie is, and it's something that I feel is lacking in a lot of films. Rental Family was exactly what I was expecting it to be. My boy Brendan Fraser is amazing, and he tugs at your heartstrings with 2 storylines running back and forth that I just wish I could have seen more. Thunderbolts was a movie about mental illness, which is the last thing I expected to say about Marvel film. In my last video, I said that it took a big swing, and what I meant by that is it feels completely different from the universe, and that's what I want more of. Caught Stealing was one of the most entertaining experiences, having one of the most relatable characters. When you're attached to a character so much, the story almost becomes secondary. Any bad things that happen to him, you feel it. Any good things that happen to him, you cheer for it. And in the last 10, well, you know the last 10. My top 10 being Mickey 17, Train Dreams, Sinners, The Life of Chuck, Hamnet, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Weapons, Marty Supreme, finally, Warfare. An absolute thrill ride of a film. Thank you guys for having the patience to watch this long list. I'm kind of annoyed at making ranking videos. This is probably going to be my last one after a while. And I'm finally going to make a video that I started this channel for. It's going to be about the art of comfort films. I kind of started this channel just to talk about film and what it does for me and what it could do for others, not just to be ranking films all the time. It just happened to be the end of the year, so I wanted to talk about everything that I watched. With that being said, I'm not going to make a most anticipated of 2026 list. I'll just name off a few right now. Scream 7, Wuthering Heights, Dune Messiah, The Odyssey, Toy Story 5, Zach Cregger's Resident Evil, and my most anticipated, Werewolf. It's already 2026, so I want to thank you guys for your ears, for listening to my takes and opinions. You might hate some, you might like some, and I want to hear what you thought was terrible, what you thought was great. I more than likely already changed my mind on certain rankings, but after all, it is a really long list because I'm not going to be making a review about every single thing. It's only things that actually compel me to do so. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.